Hi, hello, this is JulesTheHuman here, and welcome to the JulesTheHuman Anime Hour. I'm one of your hosts, JulesTheHuman, and every week we go out into the world and watch a little bit of anime, and then we come back here and talk about it. And today we're going to continue our watch through of Soul Eater. Today we're talking about episode 5 through 8. Last week we talked about episodes 1 through 4. After we're done with Soul Eater, we have this episode and one more episode. We're going to pick a brand new anime out of the chest. All of these animes are up for picking at random. If you'd like to add one, it is a $5 super chat on YouTube or 500 bits on Twitch. If you watch this later, you can still do it on YouTube. I'll see it and we'll add it to the chest. But pick your favorite anime, and maybe we haven't seen it yet, and we'll talk about it. Then, after we're done with the anime, it gets put here on the ranking board. We have some S rank anime, most recently Vinland Saga, Delicious in Dungeon, some other anime there. And yeah, we rank the anime, tell you our thoughts, and recommend it or not. Is it good? Is it bad? We're going to tell you all about episode 5 through 8, but I don't go on this journey alone because I go with my co-host, Matt Galley. Matt, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing really good, and hello to those in the chat.
Hello, all.
I'm ready to talk about some more Soul Eater because I'm really, again, always every week, I'm very intrigued to see what your thoughts on as this story kind of like continues to play out, because like it's definitely one of the older anime that we've seen, but I definitely feel like this show kind of just knows the story that it wants to really get into. So after like
Yeah.
those prologue episodes kind of like wrapped up, I do feel like it's been like, all right, here we go. You better hang on and pay attention, because there's some blink and you miss some like lines in there even that can be like very
Ominous,
yeah
a little bit.
foreshadowy. um
Foreshadowy.
the themes already are kind of getting a little not really heavy, but just in the vein of like we're ready to get our characters in their conflicts, like where's the big conflict for each of the characters, and what is the journey that each of them need to go on, because we have all these sets of these incredibly strong and talented people, but they just can't quite get it together.
Yeah. Hello, everybody watching in live chat. I see L there. Vince, holy moly, Jules, it's been a long time. How goes it? It's going well. We talk about anime on the show every week. We're talking about episode 5 through 8 of Soul Eater today. So if you haven't watched it or don't want to get spoiled, that's okay. But yeah, we've been talking about anime every week on the Twitch now. I see you're on Twitch. Hello, Thorn Rose. Hello, Kat and Cosmo. It's Peppy Jules and Zaddy Galley. We are here. Back to what you were saying. Yeah, it's really nice that we got those intros, because we get a look into these characters that are definitely characters of themselves. But now we're like, okay, we're off to races. We got these people. We set it up. Now we have this world. And then in these 4 episodes, we're like, okay, we're diving in. And now we have maybe a main antagonist. And it's like, oh, what's going on? And it's really cool. Even the introduction of new characters, Dr. Frankenstein here, which is really dope. But I am enjoying it. It's a lot slower than the manga, which there's like some space in there, but I think that's mainly because of the time. It wasn't like, maybe I'm so used to the fast pace of everything from newer anime, but like you said, this is one of the older ones that we're watching, but they leave a lot of space in there, and I'm like, okay, they're letting some things breathe, and I'm like, this borderline. And it's also maybe because I've already read this part in the manga, but I'm like, let's get going. Like, come on, let's do it. We're playing it up for fun, and it's really funny and silly and being goofy, but I'm like, let's go a little bit. But let's get into it, because I want to talk about some of these people. Episode 5, Shape of the Soul, Enter the Ultimate Master Stein? Question mark.
Dr. Frankenstein is revealed and begins to taunt the squad due to their lack of soul resonance with each other as partners. Frankenstein is able to project his spirit energy at high levels without a weapon, able to easily defeat Blackstar and Maka. Maka breaks after seeing Frankenstein's soul, and Soul snaps her out of the break and they activate Witch Hunter once again. Still not a match for Stein. Soul jumps in front of Maka, and Stein reveals they have all passed the test, as he is a buddy of Death and was asked to do this, then becoming the new teacher of their class.
We'll talk about the episode more in depth, but I do want to get right to it. Were you surprised by the way this ended, that it was all a test? Y'all pass.
With how Sid was acting in the third episode or fourth episode, like it was already kind of like, all right, this is just like what's going on. Like it's a teacher that got turned into a zombie. That's going to play a part. Like that's going to come back in some way, because otherwise we could have just turned anybody into a zombie. It could just be a random zombie.
Yeah.
But they made him a teacher because, oh, he's just giving us a lesson while we happen to be fighting him. Oh boy. And then Frankenstein appears and immediately just starts to like, again, it's like you're giving your opponent the pieces to solve their problem as to why they aren't strong enough yet. So like you obviously, if his goal was to just turn them into zombies, it was very clear right away he could have just won if he wanted to, and he was holding back the whole time. So like it made sense, and it's not maybe at the time especially it might have been kind of a bigger reveal, but I feel like that trope is very we're accustomed to that trope with a lot of our anime media, even the JRPGs and like fights where it's like you're meant to lose or you can't lose and stuff like that. Like it didn't really catch me off guard, but I still think he's an interesting character.
Yeah, he's super fun. Cosmo said I would have been like, hell no, I didn't study.
For a second, but
he was a little sus. Yeah, everybody's a little sus.
Everybody's a little sus.
Cosmo said it's almost like a teachable moment. Oh my god, this is the teachable moment from Dr. Frankenstein, the greatest Meister ever. He keeps twisting the bolt in his head. We still don't know what that's about. Is that going through his head? Sid, is he really a zombie? I don't know. But Stein's a silly little guy, as he does his entrance twice.
And all of them are like, wait, no, let him cook. And then he just falls again.
Yeah. He's like, hold on. Just wait. Like, okay, cool. Bad entrance here for the greatest Meister ever. And as the greatest Meister, he can read the characters of souls. He can read the character of somebody's soul. And he's basically just like dressing them down in this episode. Like, yo, this is okay. This is you. This is you. This is how your souls sort of interact. They don't really get along too well. Okay, now I know all your abilities, sort of. We get some funny stuff with Death Scythe, who is at the club with Blair, who he just continues to be the comedic moments a little bit. We need a second side story to go back and forth through. The manga does that a lot. Again, I still don't know. Blair better have some sort of insane story later on, because even me reading 4 of the omnibuses, I'm like, where is this Blair story going? But it's fine. It's for the funny bits with her and Death Scythe. I don't think we had the name of Death Scythe before this, because Dr. Stein says, yeah, Spirit. I know that's his name, Spirit. I know him from and then she's like, what? You know my dad? And we find out that Stein did experiments on Spirit for 5 years in his sleep. So some comedy there as well, but also what the fuck is Stein's deal here? Like, he is just a
menace.
A menace to not just bad people, but what is supposed to be your friend, because I mean,
that was his weapon.
Partner. Yeah. He's mad. Death Scythe says Stein's mad, but he's a genius. So we kind of get that characterization before he even does anything. A lot of backstory about him. He can channel his soul wavelength and doesn't need a weapon. So another insane ability. And I do like the way that it did get a little wordy in these 4 episodes. In some of the stuff where it's like, oh, he's doing this, and this is what this means, and this is what, oh man, he's doing this, and it's like, Okay. Like they are explaining it because it's going to be
The
important later. They're
yes, and I
explaining
like
the
that
rules.
our power system is finally kind of starting to come to fruition. Like it's
Mhm.
starting to get fleshed out. We're starting to get like what like sure we know this world and like how it operates, but like what are the mechanisms that drives that operations kind of deal.
Mhm.
It's like because now we need to acknowledge kind of like the rules and the limits in order to set our power
Stakes.
levels and our power and the stakes for the story as it continues to move forward. What is we've seen, we saw Sid, a 3-star Meister. We've now seen Frankenstein, who's the greatest Meister, who we saw a 3-star Meister, somebody who was able to use any weapon they could get their hands on in order to operate effectively. But
Mhm.
now we have Stein, who is the greatest Meister, able to channel and amplify his soul energy without anything.
Sheesh, super
So I
cool.
do think that it's a appropriate like follow up to the fight with Sid in
But
terms of like
then,
here's the gap. Like you thought you got Sid and you were something, but here's the real gap. Like if you want to be the guy, this is the guy right now.
yeah, this is the guy and this is what I'm capable of doing. We get some badass fights, some fight scenes. I'm honestly blown away a little bit because this is again one of the older animes. How fluid some of this stuff looks.
Hmm.
It looks really cool. A lot of Maka's movements when they're twirling their scythe, whenever they're moving, when they're fighting and stuff. I'm like, this looks dope. I
Hmm.
really think it got like remastered or something because it looks really nice. I'm like, this is visually very compelling. I'm really liking these fights. But we get the whole Stein can channel his wavelength without a weapon, and we find out that Black Star can do it too. Huh? He can use his soul wavelength without a weapon. Not as good as Stein, but is this like a learned trait, or is this something that you may be born with? I don't know. What are you thinking about the different as we get more information about power scaling? Is it just something that some people can do, or maybe I don't think
That is
Black Star
that's kind of
reads.
like it's kind of like a question that I posed last time. Like if they train into like their class, so to speak. If
Sure.
everybody's like a multi-class whatever at level 1, and once you hit level 10 it's like all right, what are you specializing in,
Mhm.
to put it in like a video game mechanic form.
Sure.
So it's something that I'm still questioning, but it definitely, again, we saw with Black Star able to do that in the one of the previous episodes against somebody who killed 99 Kishins at the same time. And now we have somebody who is so far beyond where he's at, he can take that hit completely and not be affected at it by all, not be affected by it at all.
Because he has a very malleable soul, and he changes soul wavelength to match Black Star, so there's no effect. So like
He
we're it's
became his weapon in
in
that
that
instant that they connected, and so they just canceled each other out. And then
I
he
I
immediately changes it when he wants to go on the attack again.
I like the idea. I'm really glad they have this sort of visualization of the souls because this
Mhm.
helps me comprehend it a whole lot more and helps you visualize like, okay, this is your little soul. These are very different, but they kind of bond a little bit. And him, it doesn't make sense like
Even if they get
words.
along, even if these you guys like are coexisting, that doesn't mean you are literally you're working in resonance where
Mhm,
you are bonded.
mhm.
Like there's a certain connection that is lacking that gets that we get to see that exists between Weapon and Meister with Death, the kid, and his twin weapons.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense in words that like, oh, he changed his soul's wavelength to match his, but the visuals help me so much. It's like, okay, well, yeah, you got a little guy in you somewhere, and like even Maka being able to see people's souls as well, like that helps you visualize like, okay, they have the little soul, and then from that you can gauge the character of it or whatever. And I'm like, Okay, this is pretty simple so far.
And he can keep saying that, like, their wavelengths are unstable. Their wavelengths
Mhm.
are unstable. So it. And even when, like, at one point, Soul's like, "Wait, Maka, you can do that too, right?" Like, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Your soul seemed uncertain about that statement. Stop looking at me.
Yeah, it's great.
It's really funny.
Um,
But I do think that, like, the whole idea of their souls, like, not being compatible, not being compatible, but just like you haven't
n
put in the work to, like, really understand each other as partners. That's
not working
what I
at
feel like it's getting at.
the potential is there. Like, I'm sure that's at some point in my head that these 2 souls were like, "Okay, they're somewhat compatible. We can put them together, see how they work, and maybe they'll reach their full potential, maybe they won't." So maybe that's how Meisters and weapons get paired up. It's like, "Okay, let me see your souls. Yeah, y'all have like a 75% chance of succeeding, but you have to put in that other 25%." So that's something that I've been thinking about, like, how do they get together and
Mhm.
why do these two sort of mesh? They have to figure it out themselves. Black Star dies, question mark. And then Kid wants to get involved. He enrolls as a student to go help because Death said, "Nope, not on my watch. Only for students." All right, take me to school then. Starting
But
Monday.
he forgot, if he remembered, to fold his toilet paper into a
How do you
triangle.
how do you feel about Kid's debilitating
I,
quote?
are we ready to dive into Kid, or should we start the next episode?
Um I mean, mainly I'm talking about his quirk, not
Yeah,
him
sure. Sorry.
in general.
I
But
mean,
like,
I
how do
like
you
his quirk because I think he is the perfect inverse to the first two pairs of characters that we already have,
sure.
where they are so they have such a hard time bonding with each other. But in Kid's case, he's so well bonded with his partners, and he is, like, literally holding himself back. That is it. That's
Okay.
just like his character.
I take
That, like,
that.
I can't be at the level at 100% because I'm holding myself back.
Like, the Thompson twins are about it. Like,
Yeah.
they are the weapons here. They're like, "Yo, Kid, we got your back. You are Death the Kid. We got you. We can take you to this next level of being Death's son." But he's holding himself back. I do find it annoying, but I get what you mean.
I find it
Like,
amusing when I think about it in that context.
yes. That, now that you explained that way, because right now I'm like, "You're wasting my screen time. You could be doing something else," but he's just like,
Because, like,
my toilet paper."
if he wasn't that, didn't have that, he'd just be the Mary Sue. He would
Um,
just be the like, I just walk into the room and every problem's fixed. But because of this one little problem he has, he can't destroy the mummy sarcophagus because it's perfect.
but I want Kid to be that. He's so cool.
But he can get there because we can grow. So where the other characters have their problems of needing to grow with each other as partners, he already has the perfect partners, but needs to grow himself
As a person.
as a person.
They're still fighting. Soul and Maka are still fighting. Soul says a really cool line. I think it was Soul. Yeah. He said, because Maka was worried about dying. He said, "If we die cool." I'm down for that. Soul resonance. She can use Witch Hunter. Even though she's so young, Stein is amazed by it. Although Stein breaks it, Stein says you earn a passing grade. Good job. And Stein is the new teacher there, and he's a silly little guy still. Episode 6, the new student. Kids' first day at the academy. Will it be an entrance to remember? Longest titles ever.
Soul and Blackstar are missing from class as they confront Death the Kid for his arrival as a student at the DWMA. They all size each other up before getting into a schoolyard fight. Kid keeping the upper hand most of the time. Stein explains to Maka and Tsubaki on what makes Kid and the Thompson sisters strong as a team, and Kid uses his death cannon to knock out Soul and Black Star, but happens to realize that one of his bangs got shred, causing him to have a technical knockout. Maka asks Soul to think more about taking stupid fights moving forward and believes that she cannot see the soul of death.
What does that mean? Kid, as he enters, starts off with Kid. He has the song again from like
Yes,
that's
actually,
his tune.
I like
And
it.
I thought about it. I was like, this sounds like some sort of Destiny's Child song, like just the vibes, like it's giving Destiny's Child a lot. But I really like his little tune. Super dope. Soul and Black Star are skipping. Black Star wants to assassinate Kid, and we get into a fight. Black Star versus Kid. Kid blast. So like this is just silliness. These two boys being boys skipping class and saying, you know what? Or actually, Black Star saying, you know what? Fuck this kid guy. Who does he think he is? I'm the number one star. I do gotta say, Black Star is like my favorite character in the manga and so far. I just really like him. He's super silly. I think he has like maybe. Here's my hope. I don't know. I haven't read it far enough. I don't know the story. I really hope. I know Maka's our protagonist. I want Black Star to be the top Meister. I'm pushing for that. Black Star and Tsubaki, top Meister. I'm down. Ever.
Oh man,
Come on.
that soul's a little self-centered. I'd love to see him grow past that, but
Yeah,
like, you know,
but he gets older.
they definitely all have a lot of growing to do.
I think I just want him to be the star. I want him to get what he wants. I had this question as well. I don't know if I said it. I had it in my notes last week. But I was like, when Kid shoots the Thompson sisters, what is he shooting? And then they answered it in this one that when they shoot, they could shoots compressed wavelengths of the Meister's soul.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cares. Doesn't matter. Like that it was answered. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm down for that little tidbit.
He point blank soul, and it's like, well, we got to explain why he's not just
Dead.
I'm bleeding out.
It's not bullets.
You basically just got a super strong sucker punch, and that's probably how it feels to like a human, a Meister, or a weapon. But if you're shooting like a Kishin or something like that, we saw with the mummies, there's probably enough force, enough spirit energy behind it, soul energy. Not Yu Yu Hakusho, sorry. Enough soul energy to like just rip them apart, basically. So I'm sure it doesn't feel nice. I'm sure it feels somewhere worse than a paintball gun, but not as bad as an actual gunshot.
Yeah, definitely. I think Kid is super cool, but while they're fighting, Tsubaki is afraid that Black Star likes Soul as a weapon. So we get some more Tsubaki, who has been sort of
kind of on the backseat a little bit.
On the backseat, but she was there for Black Star's main story episode, like the introduction to him. But we haven't seen a whole lot of Tsubaki, and I really like that they're exploring that she sees it like we do. Yeah, insecurity that, you know, these two are fucking silly little guys together. I bet they would love to just be paired off and do stupid shit together. And she's like,
but I like how we almost immediately see it's like that would never work out.
Friendship
and we talked about it. Yeah. We even talked about that in the last episode where it seems like, you know, because of the chemistry that the two of them have just as friends, that they would be weapon and Meister pair, but they're like Soul turns into Scythe and Black Star can't even pick him up. And they try doing a team up attack, and Black Star catches the pointy part of the blade with his head, and they're just a mess. Like it's a fantastic demonstration of like they need their partners just as much as their partners need them.
Yeah, and I loved the following bit because they are not compatible at all. And then I love it's so silly and dumb and so just I found it really funny where Soul ends up being like, "Man, we just can't do this anymore, man. We got to go our separate ways." You know, he
Not
like
you, it's
essentially,
me.
yeah, essentially breaks up with Black Star, and it's like, man, I'm sorry, it's just not gonna work
Can we
out.
still be friends?
Yeah, it's like, of course we get to be friends. Jesus, I'm like, just these two idiots.
Pap, pap.
Yeah. They're so dumb.
Sorry.
I love these dumb boys. They're really cool. Kid does his soul resonance into execution mode. Black needle soul wavelength. This dude is so cool. I love Death a Kid. Super dope. Maka and Soul vow to stay cool, and we get to the ultimate ending where Maka can't see Lord Death's soul. We have seen Lord Death stay in his place, sending out all these kid meisters for lessons, but actually taking down real world enemies. And now we have the introduction of that he has no soul, possibly. What do you think that's setting up?
I'm sorry. I interpreted that as that entire dome around that city, that's his soul. And she didn't notice it because it's just there.
Okay.
It's like it's just a transparent dome that's like existing over it. Because we saw with Stein when she saw his soul, his was like an orb around him. So with Death, that's how I interpreted that, at least. That his soul is so big, nobody can notice it because it's just surrounding that entire compound. That's how I took it, at least.
Okay, we'll find out maybe.
You seem like you know the answer to that question. You know,
I don't
you
know nothing
seem
about.
very unwilling to share feedback on this topic.
I just wanted to hear your thoughts.
Okay, those are my thoughts.
Okay.
And I thought it was a like if it like I thought it was a very good reveal where it was just again it felt like a Twilight Zone-esque reveal where
Yeah.
or like the ending of Men in Black where it's like, oh, the universe is on the
yeah, the marble.
marble, yeah.
Or like the end of the original Planet of the Apes when they see the Statue of Liberty and they're like, we were on Earth the whole yeah, definitely like that.
Like it doesn't carry that much weight in the narrative, but it was still just like a with everything that we've established up to now, it makes sense that the show kind of would hold off on revealing something like that. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It's just revealing a part of the world. And I like how it does that right before we kind of leave this setting for the first new setting outside of the school.
This could not have come sooner, bro. I was getting tired of that school already. And I'm like, yes, we're somewhere else. Let's go.
Like we went to the graveyard and then we were at Dr. Stein's place. We went to the whatever that city was where they got Jack the Ripper, if that was,
just the streets
London or whatever, but if it was just the streets there, not sure.
We see a lot of
we get straight up like, oh, we're in Italy now.
Yeah, we get a lot of that place, the dispensary. I think that's where Death Scythe hangs out with all the girls or whatever. But yeah, not a whole lot of outside. And I'm really glad we get to that in episode 7, Black Blooded Terror. There's a weapon inside Krona. What happens in episode 7?
Maka and Soul are sent to Italy to collect information and find a Kishin running amok. Unbeknownst to them, a weapon and Meister happen to be taking the lives of humans nearby, the Souls cluing Maka in on their location. Rushing to confront them and discovering the weapon is existing inside of the body of the Meister. Stein and Death Scythe meet back up, and we see the fight between Maka and Krona begin, with Krona appearing to be immune to damage and also able to damage Soul in weapon form. Backed into a wall, Soul transforms into his human form to protect Maka from a fatal strike.
Oh no.
He made a mistake.
Soul. Are you watching it in Japanese?
I watched the first four in Japanese. I watched these four in English.
Oh, what are your thoughts?
I really like the English voice acting. And I actually, while I was grabbing screenshots, I was looking up the English voice actors because a lot of the English voice actors really started to like sound familiar.
Yeah.
Sure to find out that like half of them are like, they've the voice act in Marvel Rivals and, contemporary stuff that I'm familiar with. So it's
Okay.
like for a lot of these guys, this was their like door into the industry of
Yeah.
voice acting through this show. For a lot of them, at least on the website that I was looking at, they don't have a lot of things going on before the show. And for most of them that did, it was like, maybe one or two supporting roles in like Dragon Ball Z or something like that.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Like Troy Baker is one of the voice actors. I think he's Soul's voice actor,
Okay.
actually. Troy Baker.
Jesus.
That's what I
Yeah.
mean. It's like, oh,
What?
okay. Just one of the biggest names in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
No
In
big
this.
deal. So yeah, I did start like really enjoy the English voice acting, and I do think that I might have a slight preference to it now that I've watched it because it is really high quality and they're like the comedic timing and their line delivery is impeccable.
Yeah. It really doesn't lose the joke, and they do it really well to where it's like, okay, interject here, that's the funniest moment to say it, leave some space here, that's the funny moment. But it's really good. I
Even
mentioned,
Lord Death, his voice actor is yeah, his English voice actor is just so great.
yeah, so silly
Just so
guy,
great.
just silly guy, everybody's a little silly guy. I mentioned it here because they kind of give away the name in the English voice acting. I don't know if you have subtitles on as well, because they gave the character's name in the subtitles.
They did, yes.
Yeah,
That's how I
so
got the name.
okay, I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, so it was Medusa, and I'm like, oh shit,
Oh
okay, they
yeah,
just gave it
Medusa's
away.
name. Yeah.
Because she was saying to somebody to eat a bunch to become the ultimate evil. So she's kind of coaxing and prodding something to eat a bunch. The gang goes to Italy. We have Maka and Soul going on an extracurricular lesson to take down the murderer Sanson J. Some rando, he's on the loose, but the Matarazzi control the town. Just a random I like this. This feels a
Street gang.
little not super high what's it called? What's the word? Not like main story. Like this feels like a side quest a little bit. And I'm like, okay, I'm down. I'm down for
Like
this a little.
it comes off as like a side story, and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh, but we have pressing matters that are happening nearby. Now I'm invested.
Yep. And I like that they're just that Soul takes them all down. It's fine. Let's
Oh
go.
yeah,
Let's keep
just like
looking. Let's
Soul,
keep
stop messing with those guys. We have work to do.
yeah.
And he's the one getting picked on. And so he just beats them all up, which does beg the question like how visible the DWMA is to like the rest of the world at large. Like have these guys is this their first interaction with a Meister and a Meister and a
Weapon.
weapon?
I'm thinking so far felt like the secret underground world. You mentioned Men in Black earlier. It feels like a Men in Black situation where like
Yep.
nobody knows that these people are handling these situations, but it's happening in the world. So I feel like the Meisters are definitely like, okay, they see this person as a murderer, but they don't know he's going to become a Kishin if he keeps going. So we got to stop it.
So then
So I feel like that.
it does also beg the question if the DWMA, I mean, Maka is a child of a Meister and a weapon of the DWMA, so they're like just indoctrinated into the school. Is it, are we on a what's
It's
it
a cult.
called? It's a cult. What's the name of the company in Severance?
Oh,
Um,
Lumen.
yeah, Lumen. Sorry, holy
Yeah.
big brain fart. Is it Lumen Corp? Like, are we only bring people in that are already in, or is there some sort of recruiter out there that's like
Hmm.
testing people's soul wavelength aptitude or something like that? these
Yeah.
questions start to come into my head when they're like, okay, we're in Italy for the first time. We own this town around here. Kicks all of their asses. Like, what's going like what's like that's it doesn't matter. It's like they're not important questions, but they are
No.
like just world building things that kind of ping in my head.
I feel like Black Star just sort of stumbled upon it, and he was just like,
Yahoo!
yeah, pretty much. He does the Yahoo like Mario, but I'm pretty sure he just stumbled upon it. It's like, oh, this is dope. Yeah, I could be the number one assassin or something. But we get Medusa in control of a weapon and Meister named Krona and wants to turn Krona into a Kishin. Krona is imbued with the weapon Ragnarok. Maka and Soul find Sonsen J and kill him, but we get some funny bits with Death Scythe being weird, and he finally runs into Dr. Stein. He was looking for the nurse, but turns
Stein
out it's
knows
Dr. Stein.
exactly how to push his buttons, man. It's so funny. It's like,
I
I
love
experimented on you for 5 years. I know your body and mind inside out.
I mean, I love their connection, and I definitely want to talk more about that in episode 8. But like, I like that it's apparent that they know each other. I mean, they were together for what, like 5 years, I think they said. Like, they were weapon and Meister. They had to do these missions together, and it shows because Dr. Stein is just a menace to him, and he
It just
knows it.
gets under his skin right away.
It's so good. But we get information from Death Scythe that they just got divorced last month. I didn't know it was like, so they didn't really mention it, how soon it was. All this happened, all this trauma that Maka's been going through is very valid because it was just last month. And we're like, oh shit, like, okay, yeah,
But
I
she,
would
she
hate your
also,
dad.
she really drives home about how she saw everything leading up to till then
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, man, you to her, you suck.
And it
You're not a
also,
great guy.
yeah, it also makes sense why Death Scythe is so like trying to get to his daughter, because like, I know it just happened, but like, I still want to be your dad or whatever. The was it Dr. Stein and Death says that the demon sword has shown up. So the demon sword is out there. And we get this sort of parasitic relationship between Ragnarok and Krona a little bit, where Krona seems to be like a ill-mannered child that is just kind of a pushover a little bit, and we get Ragnarok just being mean, rude, picking at their face a little bit all the time, and it's just being annoying while like having them do what they want. It's kind of,
It's so crazy how he's literally Ragnarok is the guy that'll just push your buttons, like, poke you in the face, throw shit at you, but the second you want to be like, hey dude, knock it off, and he's like,
yeah,
whoa,
it's
we're just having some fun, man. We're just having some fun. It's like, yeah, at my expense, you asshole.
I I think it was in episode 8 where like I caught it, but it was just like insane gaslighting. And it's like, bro, dude, what are you doing? Like, it's like, no, I didn't want to do that. I mean, what are you talking about? Like, you're crazy.
And
It's so,
his vibes remind me of Twice from My Hero Academia, when he's kind of like in his unhinged personality mode. It's just like all over the place, the high pitched voice that just kind of like, is like ending every single word on an upward inflection. It's just like, whoa, man. Whoa.
pretty annoying that,
Exactly. It's an annoying sword, and it's supposed to be the most potentially destructive weapon that could be made manifest.
maybe we don't know yet. But Corona says that they have black blood in them, that the blood hardens. They use screaming resonance at Maka, so this annoying sword gets more annoying by screaming these noises at them, and then Soul takes the blow for Maka. I really like all the fight scenes. Introduction of Krona, who's going to play a part in this show, and the Demon Sword. Um, really like this episode. Big fan of
Mhm.
like how it like you said, it was going to be the side quest, and then it's like, ooh, what's going on here? And Maka can like distinguish from so far away some souls, because she distinguished like 50 human souls and then two Weapon and Meister, and it's like, yo, Maka, like we're still finding out things about them, which is really cool. That they
Mhm.
are more powerful if they work together and they
Mhm.
know what they can do. They could do a whole lot.
And I also do
So
like
much
how
potential.
the consequences of this episode are a direct like lead up and was just foreshadowed with Soul saying, in this episode and the episode before, I'm willing to jump in front of you and die to protect you. And so when the situation calls for it, when they're ultimately backed into a corner because they get, they can't attack and they can't defend, backed into a corner, and we have Soul having to take a very fatal blow. And Maka feels as though that she is the one who like screwed up in a way, but it isn't even necessarily like her fault, so to speak. But that's what that type of event is going to brew.
So that brings to mind some questions, because it's like, does are you born as a weapon, or are you born as a Meister, or is that something that is put onto you? You know what I mean? Because like, but then also weapons and Meisters can't have a baby, so they're both human,
Yep.
assuming.
We get it established that they are humans. Weapons are humans that can turn into weapons. Meisters are humans that can wield weapons.
So if this is something that they're not born with, or if there's something that it's born with, okay, like they have something in them that makes them a weapon. But if it's the like they're sorting them, like, hey, I want to go to the academy. Okay, let's get sorted. You are going to be a weapon. You're going to learn how to turn yourself into a weapon, whatever, whatever. That's kind of heavy to be like, as a weapon, you will always put yourself, because that's what Dr. Sign taught him as well,
Hmm.
like, or that's what
Hmm.
he's taught in that episode. Like, yeah, you, as a weapon, you're always going to put yourself in front of the Meister. That's pretty heavy
It
to
is.
to, to be like, my life is always to defend you. That's kind of
If it
crazy.
calls for you or me, mine is forfeit
Yeah,
every time if the
that's crazy.
decision is there.
That's crazy. Let's get into it. Episode 8, Medusa the Witch, the one who possesses a great evil soul.
Stein and Death Scythe arrive
Yeah.
just in time to save Maka. The witch continues to view the fight remotely, with Stein able to finally do damage to Krona. Krona's blood, however, begins to fill the air and strikes Stein from multiple angles. Stein manages to get the upper hand on Krona, with him undergoing a soul rejection as a result. The witch attempts to attack the group, with Stein easily repelling the attack, having the witch retreat. Death remarks that things seem to be getting a little serious, as we see the witch is actually a lot closer than we thought.
Oh my god.
Things are getting a little crazy around here,
It's getting a
huh?
little crazy.
I love
Krona's on the verge. Yes, he's great. On the verge of becoming a Kishin. Brother, I love this moment. I loved it in the manga too. Hell yeah, we get Stein showing up with Death Scythe. I love that they have this history. They haven't been together for a while, but then like when it calls for, they're like back into action. All right, let this we need to. This is somebody that you care about, and this is my job that Death told me to do. So let's do it. And they get back, and they are cool together.
Ready
I
to kick
love
some
these.
ass.
I love these
And
two.
I really like how Maka points out, like, oh, they have their own fighting style. They are not fighting as a weapon and Meister. They're fighting as Dr. Stein and Death Scythe.
Mm-hmm. They are. the master of their craft, whatever it is, because we know that in order to become a death scythe, they would have had to take down a witch we know is insane to do. And for the ultimate Meister, they just work so well together. And I like that we have this next level. Like we saw Dr. Stein by himself. Now he has Death Scythe, and it's like, yeah, like right back into it, like riding a bicycle back to the old days. Let's do it. We did this
Starts
before.
spinning it around. He's using the weight of the scythe to like carry itself into the next
It's
the
so
next
fluid.
swing. It's very fluid. It's very well choreographed.
Yeah,
For sure.
I enjoy them two in this episode. What did I say? Yeah, I gave you the information there already. Death called Stein back to the academy specifically to stop the Kishin. Stein uses Soul Force, but the black blood can attack as a needle, which does put a damper in Stein's plans because I don't think he's ever seen that before. And they say that if Krona gets consumed by the weapon, things can get dangerous. Like this is like, whoa, what's going on? This could be it. This could be the one. We got to stop it. Stein does lose his glasses from Krona's attack, but Stein makes a spirit body and uses double palm soul force. Like they're just doing some badass moves in this episode. I'm a big fan of watching Stein fight. Krona and Ragnarok have soul rejection. So a whole nother thing here where two souls are not compatible. Is that what they said? That they just don't, the soul wavelengths are off. The vibes are off.
The vibes were off.
Vibes
I
are off.
think it was probably Ragnarok just being like, this kid can't handle this.
Yeah.
He isn't up to the task. He's losing. If he loses, then I'm not going to be able to become the demon sword. It was probably like I feel like it was that happening. But also, wasn't it like the snake that was coiled around him that Stein saw or something? Didn't they like get something off of him before that happened as well?
That there was a snake on the soul, but they didn't know where it was they didn't know what it was or where it was coming from because the witch Medusa had soul protect on.
That's right.
That good old soul protect. So she shielded her soul wavelength of a witch to that of a human. So that's why Maka didn't make her out before, and nobody really knew her because knew she was there because she had soul protect on. Fuck it, not getting in. Stein and Death Scythe use Soul Resonance Witch Hunter. This is how it's supposed to do it, Maka. This is how you do it. It looks insane.
Pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Soul is eventually okay. We get back to the academy, and Stein tells Maka something, but then tells Death Scythe something else. I love these two here. Like it's just continued. Like they have a relationship, and it's so apparent, and I love it because he tells Maka like, yeah, he'll be fine, and then Death Scythe immediately knows like, tell me what you wouldn't tell Maka.
So what's the full story?
Yeah, what's the full story? And I like that. I like them two knowing each other, and it's just super fun. But that soul may be cursed. The black blood got mixed with Soul's blood, so there question marks on how that's gonna go down the road, but could be interesting. And then, assuming that she has soul protect on as well, enter Medusa,
because the school nurse
at the school, and it's really crazy. I like how they played this here because we see the name Medusa, but the kids don't know anything. They are like, oh yeah, Medusa, like apparent, like just like she's been there forever. Like she's the school nurse, like just that person that we know that heals people. And maybe that's who Death Scythe was trying to meet last episode, but then he got Dr. Stein. He was like, nurse, I'm here to heal.
100%.
Heal me, please. And then
that's
Dr.
the
Stein walks in.
We already had this open like in this arc where after Medusa got introduced, we have the introduction of a concept of a school nurse, but then oh no, the school nurse isn't the one that shows up, it's Stein. So who is the school nurse in the first place? And that's the only like open-ended little kind of like character slot that's open. Then you get Medusa being, you know, the witch on the field. How are we going to bring her into the narrative long term? Oh,
Boop.
they're the nurse.
Protecting her soul. Nobody knows she's a witch, and it's gonna get crazy.
The first full-fledged witch that we have now seen, because we did see
baby witch
before. So we saw baby witch. We saw what's her name running around as a cat, thinking that was, you know, Blair, thinking that was a witch, and it's like, oh, that's not even a witch. So now we have a true witch established in the story, which I like. It's like, again, we know 99 then a witch, and all the characters were forfeit of even needing to think about killing the witch. So now we have them all introduced, their stories rolling along, their problems and where they need to grow kind of like established, and now it's like, what is the pillar for them to overcome ultimately? Medusa.
But even them now,
larger threats could show up too. But
what was that?
I said larger threats could show up too in the future, but even like just who's our antagonist? Who are we fighting against type deal? And now we have somebody that's trying to create this demon sword, and we don't know where they are, where the sword is. And as Death says, seems like things are going a little crazy.
But even now, the kids are like, yo, this is what a witch can do. Like, this is tough. Like, this is crazy. Elle, thank you for the 1,000 bits. Oh, my goodness. Thank you for the 500 and the 500. I appreciate it. Elle said, you guys pick one each. He, 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 he.
Not the full read.
Thank you all for the 1,000 bits.
Thank you all
appreciate
for the 1,000.
I can't think of it. Name one anime. I can't think of any. Thank you.
Was the one that I put in the Discord earlier.
Oh, the one with the really long name.
Abandoned my S tier party to go rescue my students in the dungeon.
You're so welcome. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. I do want to find a long titled one just because. Maybe the one with the toilet. What is there?
The what?
Toilet Sama or something.
I don't know if I'm clued in on that one.
Well, you're not on that wave. You're not on that wave.
I'm not on that side of TikTok. Sorry.
There's a toilet one. Never mind. I spent too much time in the manga section. But how are you liking the show? And where do you think? What's your big prediction for
in the first two episodes of this set, episode 5 and 6, I really enjoyed them as like character developing episodes, but like I was starting to get the but where are we going? Like, kind of, you know, I understand this is like these are the characters, these are their problems, these are their challenges, but what's gonna drive tension and conflict in the story at large as we move forward? So I was very excited and happy to see episode 7 and 8 answer that question. Here's your larger conflict, even if it's not going to be for the entire length of the story. Like, here's at least our initial like problem, and we need to figure out a way to solve this. What's the problem? Somebody's trying to make the demon sword, and that is not good. We need to stop the demon sword from being made.
Hey guys, like, I think that's kind of bad.
It's kind of bad. So I really was looking for something to get hooked on. It's like I'm sold on the characters. Yes, I like them. That's great. But like, where's the major hook? And so we get that, and it's like, all right, now I'm ready to be pulled along. Now I'm ready to just take the wheel.
Yeah. Elle said, I've seen such amazing cosplays for this anime too. I should watch it. Dang. I would love to be a Maka with a big ass scythe. It would be super cool. Or Black Star. That'd be cool. But yeah, I do agree with you where it was kind of like a bit of a lull. Like, okay, let's rev that engine a little bit. Let's get going. And it was great. So it didn't lose me totally. But yeah, I feel what you meant. Where like I need something. I love their silliness. I love the little adventures, but like let's get some big stakes on these.
Especially episode 6. It felt like a whole episode of just like, let's let the boys fight. It was like,
Yeah.
okay, the boys fought. What are we doing?
I don't even think that was in the manga. If I don't think I remember it. I was like, okay, that's cool. I mean, it was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny at moments.
Because the I'm okay with that episode because again it establishes the fact that like Kid is outright stronger than everybody else, you know, outright with the Thompson sisters. Like he's really
And,
strong, but he's got a crippling weakness that's going to hold him back.
and it answers the question that Soul and Blackstar are not compatible. So like that gets it out of our head.
That too.
Reinforces for Tsubaki, and it's like, okay, you're the person for him. Like if we had any doubt, like if y'all were setting it up that Soul and Blackstar are really cool together, and it's like, oh shit, is there going to be some stuff payoff? Okay, never mind. No,
Yep.
they're not good. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
So next week we're gonna watch episode 9 through 12 of Soul Eater. So watch episode 9 through 12 with us and give us your thoughts in the live chat or later on YouTube or wherever you watch. Matt, when you're not eating souls, where can they find you on the internet?
You can follow me on my socials on Instagram at it's Matt_Galley, or you can follow me on my YouTube at Matt_Galley. Jules, when we're not here trying to stop the Death Sword from manifesting, where can the people find you?
At JulesTheHuman, at JulesTheHuman on all social media. Haven't been posting a whole lot. Been living my life, doing cool stuff. If you give the $5 super chat, you can do that on the replay on this channel, on my YouTube at JulesTheHuman, at JLAS. $5 super chat. I'll read it later if you watch this later or anything like that. After we finish Soul Eater next week, we have a ton of anime, and apparently me and Matt have to add another anime to this list. So next week's the last time we're going to be talking about Soul Eater. So we're going to rank it next week and then off to a new adventure and continue on. And we rank Soul Eater and let you know if it was worth it. Yeah. Watch episode 9 through 12 of Soul Eater by next week. And we'll see you then.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.